What's going on, guys, and welcome to another episode. Here today I have another brand new product from Zhiyun besides the G200 that I just reviewed. As a matter of fact, I'm planning to actually have both videos released at the same day because Zhiyun is releasing officially July 12th both the Zhiyun V60 and the G200. And not only they make the white, but they also make the black one. And I'm going to tell you guys everything you want to know about these lights. So stay tuned, don't go anywhere, I'll be right back. And a quick disclaimer, Zhiyun sent me this slide for me to test it out. I don't get paid to say anything. This video is not sponsored by Zhiyun, and all my words and opinions are my own. And here's the usual case that you see with the Zhiyun lights, and it comes in two delicious flavors, white or black. And the case itself, the light is right here. The C 24 volt to 5 amp power supply with a 10-foot power cord, and also a standard USB-C to USB-A in case you need to charge this light using a regular charger without this, or a USB power delivery such as this. So today is Saturday, my studio is inside a mall, so it's pretty loud over there, you know, people transiting outside there, so I hope you don't mind the little bit of background noise here today. And here's the V60 in 360, so you can actually see every single side of this light, and the same exact thing with the white V60, so again, you can actually view a 360 from front to back. I would say the number one use that I recommend these lights for are for wedding filmmakers when you guys take the bride before the reception starts, when you guys go to a little sunset going on, or anything that requires a little bit of a feel, these lights will definitely be it. And as far as design goes, I think this is a very sexy design here, especially the white with this little copper looking finish here on the fans and all these little details. Look at the front of the light as well. This is just a piece of decoration here, so don't try to open this because you're going to break something. Just leave this alone. It's just decoration. But look at this light. From front to back, it is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, the black is nice. It keeps things like low-key, not like as loud as the white one. But I actually definitely prefer the white. That's just a personal preference. So I'm going to go straight to the point here, telling you guys the primary things that you guys want to know about these lights. Of course, how long they will take to discharge this battery when you crank this up to 100%. Secondly, how loud is the fan. And third, how long it takes to charge and all that good stuff. The F100 and the V60, as you can see, this whole thing from the back here are heat sinks, and they also have a little bit on the front here. And these fans, they do a pretty decent job in keeping the light cool. But if you want to use this light for studio applications, I don't think that's going to be a problem because I don't think these fans are going to bother you, especially when you use shotgun microphones and all. I wouldn't be too worried about that because the fans are pretty decently quiet. So the V60, as far as diffusion goes, it provides more of a specular light than a super diffuse light because the diffuser here is okay and you cannot see the LEDs just a little bit. So when actually using this at a wedding or whatever, as long as you aim this properly at a person, you're not going to have any problems with shadows or anything like that. For that purpose, it will do a good job, or you can also increase the level of diffusion by putting a little Roscoe Frost gel here, but I don't think that's necessary. So here's a test with this light set to 30%, and it looks like this in my face. Now I dropped the ISO all the way down to 160, and I'm still shooting with the dark lens, which is a 24-25 Canon f4, and the light looks like this in my face, which is set to this position. You can also do flat lighting by bringing it right here, or some dramatic light all the way here, so whatever you like, right? And you can also provide another fill using another one of these lights or any other light, or even a reflector at the bottom to even help to eliminate some shadows here. And this light is actually set to 1%, and you can actually bring it closer or crank it up, you know, whatever you want to do. But, you know, just the light itself the way it looks like here, and with a little bit of a fill. And some hair lights, which I have none. So you see this thing here. You don't want to shoot people with a bald head with a hair light, right? Maybe I'm wearing a cap, it'll be okay. So let's say they were actually wanting to do some studio work and require some even softer lighting, and this is the only light they brought on set. You simply pop in an umbrella here. So right now I'm shooting with a Canon 24-105, which again is an f4 lens, which is a very dark lens. Imagine what f1.8 can do, right? So with the settings here, I have the camera set to ISO 500, the light set to 100% with an umbrella right here, with a little piece of hardware to hold the umbrella, and this is what you get right here, beautiful soft light, utilizing only a single one, which is the Zhiyun V60, and this is what you get. And I'm going to be actually zooming out and show you guys that the light is actually right here. And here's what the light looked like, bare bulb at 4%, still ISO 500, the same exact settings right here, and there you go. This light also features a 1/4-20 mount for your light stand. You can actually mount it vertically or horizontally on a boom sort of way. I actually prefer this type of mount here. I'll get back to that in a second, because when actually dealing with gravity, so imagine this, when you hold the light this way, it feels very comfortable, but as soon as you hold on the very edge of the light here, you start to feel a little bit heavy, right? When you actually mount the light horizontally on a stand, for example, if you're in a rush, you decide to land the stand very hard on the ground, you might occasionally break something here. So I think this idea is better, to have a super clamp like this, and this only costs like $10 or $12 on Amazon. I'll leave the link in the description if you guys want to be interested in buying this product as well. It has nothing to do with Zhiyun. And this also features an umbrella hole right there. So again, if you want to do anything like studio work, for example, with this light, you can actually put an umbrella here, and a white umbrella for having a gentle amount of diffusion, still going to allow this light to penetrate the fabric here, so you still can actually do some studio work. All you have to do is to get the light closer to the subject. This is a very powerful wand light, and if you need even more power, there is the F100 to consider, but this one here should do the trick for most applications. Now, even though you only have 20 to 23 minutes or so with this light cranked out to 100%, it doesn't mean that your light is going to be dying in 20 minutes if you actually need to crank this up all the time to 100%. What you do is to crank up this light to 100%. When you're done shooting the bride this way, whatever, turn it off, and the light is off. And then another, 3 minutes, that's going to be another pose, and then you turn this on again, and off you go. And again, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be having 100% all the time, because there's a lot of power here. And of course, that's with the light cranked up to 100% continuously. So if you set this light to 50%, it's going to go from 20 minutes to 40 minutes or maybe 50 minutes, because at 100% is about 20 to 23 minutes. And of course, if you set this to 25%, it's going to be even more shooting time for you. So a full blast here, about 20 or so minutes. 50% about 40 minutes, and at 25% at least an hour to an hour 10 minutes. So this light at 1%, still a lot of power. I wish the 1% was more gentle, but even though this 1% can actually work very well for you on a sunset when the sun is actually setting, other than that, again, you actually crank this up back to 100% here. And I would say they have plenty of power outdoors to use this light with. And that also applies to photography, because photography sometimes requires a higher shutter speed, which means less light is entering your sensor. But again, I think this can actually be a very good light source outdoors in most situations. And these wand lights have a built-in lithium-ion battery, and I'm not a big fan of that. First of all, we can't wait a whole hour, an hour and 10 minutes to fully charge this battery when you are in the middle of a shoot. And by the way, don't charge this when the battery just got discharged, because it will be slightly hot, and the worst thing you can actually do to a lithium-ion battery is to wait until it completely dies. That also applies to your cell phones as well, even your car. Every time you let your car battery, iPhone battery, or any battery like this die, that battery will never be the same. So I actually did a test here once to let the light completely die for the purpose of this video, to show you guys how long it will take to actually fully discharge this light at 100% full power. But again, I don't like doing that. I only did this once for the purpose of this video, which, by the way, to have 100%, you must plug in either the 24-volt power supply that's included with this light, or the power delivery USB to give you the full 60 watts. The F100 will let you output 100% of the brightness, while the V60 will only let you probably 80%. I don't have the manual here in front of me, but what I'm trying to say is both lights, they last about 20 to 23 minutes at full blast. But again, to use the whole 60 watts, you actually have to press this max button located right here. Now, if you don't want to use the included power supply and prefer a USB-C power delivery cable, you must buy your own cable and also utilize your own power delivery charger, which, by the way, this is an awesome unit. And this unit has 2 USBs and also 3 100-watt power delivery, and it also has separate 5 readings of display here, which tells me how many watts or amps this light is actually drawing while being charged. And of course, I'm going to leave this item in the description as well. When you see the battery gauge showing about 10% or starts to flash, I would immediately turn off the light and wait it to cool off to save the battery, so it will last you for a long time. Sometimes I have people commenting here, oh, I just bought this whatever light, and then the battery died 3 months later. This is because you guys let the battery die in full. That also applies to V-mount batteries, any lithium-ion batteries, lead acid batteries, whatever that is. Don't let the battery die, please. I actually have a Sony NPF 970 battery originally from Sony, and I purchased it in 2013, and still I can use this battery today, 10 years later. If there is something here that I really know about are lithium-ion batteries, trust me on that. And here's a big tip for you guys how to crank this up to 100%. I'm not talking about this light, any light with any battery. So first fully charge the light to 100% and then while still plugged in you crank this up to 100%, which means the battery is not going to need any charging. So the battery is going to be on the chill mode right here while you actually crank this up all the way to 100%. If you don't do that, if you wait until the battery dies and then you decide to plug this in here to charge and crank it up to 100%, this is what happens. It's going to be charging and discharging at the same time, which means it's not good for the battery. The lithium-ion batteries, including this light here on the storage, they like temperature as cool as 50 degrees Fahrenheit. They don't like heat. Don't charge a lithium-ion battery, either this one, on extreme heat or extreme cold. Don't do that because you're going to be damaging your battery. So right now I actually have this light being charged via the USB power delivery and it says here PD 100 watts and I feel the battery getting slightly warm right here. So regarding built-in lithium-ion batteries, I actually have a huge tip for Zhiyun to start modifying the engineering of these lights here because again, I can't be waiting an hour, 10 minutes to wait for the battery to be charged. And I understand that there's no way or there's no place for Zhiyun to actually put a slot for the Sony battery because it's going to make the light bigger and uglier or whatever. What Zhiyun could do is the same design that this company here made. This is an actual optional battery that you simply twist it off and here it is, the battery and the light. Of course, it's not going to be a battery this long. Hey, maybe yes. I mean, I'm sure some people wouldn't mind the extra size here, but Zhiyun can actually make something like this on this size right here. So it'll be a cute little thing that you can actually unscrew. And this is the actual connector here. It's some sort of an XLR plug, whatever Zhiyun wants to make, right? So to put it on here, it takes about a second. Done. And then you power the light, and there you go. It would be also nice if this light actually had the Arca Swiss mount like you see on this light right here, so you can actually easily mount on a stand and this can actually be shifting, tilting anywhere you want. I don't have a digital scale right now to precisely tell you how much this weighs, but what really matters is how it feels like in the hand, especially if you're holding this for a long time in a wedding. So the F100 and the V60, they pretty much weigh the same. There's a lot of plastic on this light here, but high durability plastic. But this one here has a lot of metal going on. Everything here on the side is metal. Metal, and the only plastic thing that you see here is the front of the light and the handle right here. Everything else is metal. Now I find the V60 slightly more comfortable to handle because it is rather round right here when you grab the light, and this one here is a rather square shape, as you can see. So this is actually more comfortable. And this is not a big deal, but you gotta be careful because your fingers can easily turn on the light or off. So I have the black unit and the white unit. And why do I have both? This is the prototype version that they actually sent about a month ago, and this just arrived about 2 days ago, and it gives me the opportunity to compare the both, which by the way, neither one of these, as far as I know, has any connectivity with any applications because I tried with the Zhiyun app. Apparently there's no Bluetooth device inside either the prototype version or the retail version. So you don't necessarily need an app because this thing is just right in front of your face right here within arm's reach. You just set your brightness and color temperature and everything. But I still think an app would be actually useful here, especially if you are either doing work outdoors or in the studio. Let's say that you actually want to put this on a boom high up, and then to change the settings you have to climb on the ladder or something to actually change the brightness. So an app would be actually useful here. This thing also features a music mode. Right now I have this light cold, this one here warm, so it doesn't matter. So you actually press and hold the CCT button. This is actually very sensitive, but this is actually in music mode, so I'll try to be quiet here. There's a lot of background noise, kids running around here in the mall. So as soon as I start saying something, this happens, right? When I stay quiet, there you go. And when you press and hold the dim button, you have effects. So this one is on the candlelight, and this one is on the flash or something like that. I'll show you later the rest of the effects. So initially when you power on the light, you're gonna see this message right here. Then at the bottom is the dim, the top is the color temperature. And again, there are no apps, so you have to manually turn this on here for 1%. And it looks like this at my actual camera settings and ISO settings, which is, by the way, ISO 800, f4, 1/60th of a second, 30 frames per second frame rate. Then you can crank it all the way up very quickly to 100%. There are also shortcuts. You can actually start all the way from 0%, which means you do not have to power off the light to save battery power. Just use the shortcuts. And 0, 50, and 100. Same shortcuts for the color temperature. Starts at 2700 Kelvin, and then 5500 and 6500, and back to 2700 Kelvin. Our issue was a 3200 degrees Kelvin shortcut. So we actually have to manually dial this here. And the same goes for the color temperature. As you can see, it is stepless. Very smooth ramp. When you press and hold the dim button, you access the effects page, and you can easily accidentally change the settings here, so be careful. I particularly don't care much about effects, especially that most lights that I see, these effects, they need some work anyway. So here's the actual SOS, then the TV. I'm gonna play for a few seconds so you can actually see what the effects are doing, just in case you are the effect kind of guy going on a wand light. Then I have this one here. This one, the candle light, needs work as well. And this one. This one. And back to SOS. To get out of here, simply press and hold the same button, goes back to the normal light. When you press and hold the CCT button on top, you have music mode. So I'm going to be quiet here. There you go. Now I'm going to be talking and the light goes off. Very nice. Press and hold the button again, it goes back to the normal light. So with the light meter, I have the light set to the full power at 4200 degrees Kelvin, set to 100%. So let me get my light meter here. And I'm getting about exactly f8 at ISO 800. Now let's see what happens if I change the color temperature here to something like 5500 degrees Kelvin. And let's see if I get the same result. Almost 56.8, so almost f8, not bad. Now let's unplug this thing here, and let's see what we get at 100% at 5500 degrees Kelvin. So, okay, so it says here 56.8, 56.9, the battery just died here. This is the return version, and the other light does the same exact thing. So right now with either light, the fan is spinning for about 10 to 12 minutes, and I cannot hear the fan. I can see them spinning, but no noise whatsoever. The fan might accelerate the RPM later, but still, it's very decently quiet. I don't think it's going to be a problem in the studio. Unless, of course, you are inside a audiologist booth that you can actually hear your heartbeat, then you can hear everything, right? Another test that I wanted to make here, for example, right now I am not at the max mode by not pressing this button here, so I'm at 100% here, but it doesn't mean you're actually getting the whole 60 watt output. So I'm going to be making a light measurement here at 100% with this setting and see what I get. So right now I'm at 56.5, 56.5. Let me unplug this now and see if we get the same exact reading. Right now I'm at 56.4. No big deal. It's 0.1 f-stop difference. Now let's utilize the max button here, which is going to appear the CCT max, which drops to 4200 degrees Kelvin. And let's take a reading. 56.9, which is technically f8, as you can see here. So to wrap things up here, I think the V60, as far as the cosmetic looks, is a beautiful piece of equipment, very well designed and very sexy looking, and it is actually a very bright source of light. The only cons that I would have here is the fact that you can only have 100% if you press this power button here, and you must connect either the USB power delivery or the 24 volt power supply, and the fact that this battery only lasts 20 or to 23 minutes, and the fact that you actually have to wait a whole hour, an hour and 10 minutes to actually charge this battery. And I'm sure they want to keep this design as compact as possible, and I do understand the fact that there's no way to put a Sony battery right here, but I would like to see Zhiyun with the future lights, especially wand lights like this, to actually have a replaceable lithium-ion battery like the one that I showed you before, and for additional X amount of dollars, you can actually purchase more of these batteries, which is better than waiting for an hour or so to wait until this thing finishes charging so you can actually use the light again. So I really like the idea of the replaceable battery. It can still be this size, but let us actually replace the battery. And that's the end of my review. I hope you found the content helpful. And by the way, I'm actually usually the first YouTuber to review most fresh, brand new products from many manufacturers. So if you care to subscribe to this channel, I would really appreciate it. And of course, if you have any questions, please drop them down in the comment section. I'll respond to everything that I see there. So once again, thank you very much for being here, and I'll see you next time.